Welcome to Storyline's informational webinar. We're so excited to see so many new faces. I see some familiar ones. We have some owner residents here that are on Storylines. We have a lot of our Storylines family. Alister, welcome, good morning.
Thank you, Katie, and welcome everybody. Great to see some friendly faces and new faces, of course, and some familiar faces in the crowd as well.
Well, we have so much to cover. We really, really do. But, it's always nice to start with the vision. Let's talk about the vision of Storylines and who is going to be on the ship. Who is our community?
Yeah, so the vision, it started out looking for a better way to live life, right? And that's pretty much been the backbone of what Storylines has been about from day one. You look at the cruise industry and you look at the travel industry, and traveling isn't that fun most of the time. Airlines, those sort of things. We thought there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way to see the world and live in this beautiful lifestyle, but in comfort as well. And there wasn't really anything out there. So that's the fundamental reasons why Storylines was born. So you ask, who is going to be living on the narrative with Storylines? Look, as you can see from the people on this call right now, it's a group of like-minded people who are, have that thirst for adventure. We've got the 8 principles, and the 8th one is global citizens. Okay, and that probably rings true with the core foundation of what Storylines is all about. People who want to live that global lifestyle, but still want the creature comforts of home. Yeah, and that's the fundamental difference. So people who understand that. So there's people of all walks of life. We've got younger family types. We've got older retirees. We've got business people in the middle. We've literally got everybody that makes up a full community. So that's the most important part, and that's the fundamental driver of what is the backbone of Storylines, and that's the community element.
And that is the beauty of it. I mean, we're from all walks of life, and we're doing so many different things, whether we're still working because we will be working on the ship, or we have more of a leisurely day in front of us, and families, expats, all different types of people. So now we know who's going to be joining us. Let's talk about the amenities.
There's many to talk about, so I'll try and be brief. But look, absolutely, and tailing in on the types of people who will be coming to live this lifestyle as residents, we've tailored the amenities to suit exactly those people. So, for the working types, there's great working facilities on board the ship. So from high-speed internet, lots of areas where you can sit down and grab the computer, even just do some emails or do a Skype call back to family, back wherever they might be. Of course, huge spa and wellness center, which on the website is already the information is available about that and the inclusions there. So there's most of those. And the beautiful thing about this is most of the facilities in the spa and wellness center will be available 24/7. So whenever you feel like you need to have some special treatments, a lot of those will be available for you when you want them. So an on-demand type process. And of course, all of the amenities, they're all driven by the residents. Okay, so that comes back to that community element as well. So a lot of community input to how they function on board once we're actually sailing will be input from the residents. So that's a huge part as well. From down the marina, there's a huge area there for a beautiful tendering experience. So we can go into more port locations and more exotic locations, have a beautiful tendering experience. Plus also down there, we've got the scuba gear, the kayaks, and all the fun sort of water activities, both on and under the water. And there's 3 pools. There's a lap pool. There's a beautiful pool up on the bow of the ship, which is just out from the champagne and whiskey lounge. We've got a beautiful midship pool, which has massage jets and just a beautiful spot to lounge around and have a cocktail and enjoy the sun, because that's what we'll be doing 365 days of the year. Fingers crossed, of course. But yeah, following the sun is obviously a key part of our itinerary planning. And then, of course, you've got the food experience, with multitudes of restaurants, with a few restaurants that will actually be changing the menus as we go around to the different regions of the world. So changing the type of experience you have from that food experience. But you've got everything from quick eats, grab on the way out for a day excursion or a weekend trip away with some new Storylines friends that you've met on board the ship, or some upscale, white cloth dining experiences. So you've got everything in between as well, which is super important. And of course, on each resident deck is the resident lounges, which is a huge part to this. So you've got your own residence, of course, which is your own private space, but you've got this semi-private, which we sort of coined the term, that's your local neighborhood. So within those resident lounges is where you'll expect to find people on your deck, right? So your locals, right? So it's almost like the local. And you can go down there, there's private kitchen spaces, so you can cook your own food. There's spots that you can actually book out and section off and have as private event spaces. So if you're having a birthday party or something, you can block that out and host for 10, 15 people there quite comfortably. And of course, from the sunshine again, we've got the pickleball court up on deck 15. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Katie. Pickleball, we've got the running track, outdoor facilities for fitness, and health and wellness is a big part of the ethos. Going back to the core of what Storylines is about, health and wellness is a big part of that, and that's instilled into everything that we do. Just bringing health to the little bit closer to the forefront of mind, without being in your face about it, of course. But the idea is that by living a Storylines lifestyle, you'll lead a healthier, happier, and longer life, and that's instilled into pretty much everything that we've got throughout the ship.
There's so many things to look at. And by the way, we have a lot of new people that have joined us. If you are just joining us now, you're in the right place. If you're looking for Storylines at Sea, we have many different people here that have never heard of Storylines. We have some owners that are already going to be on our ship. We have our Storylines family. So I just wanted to say hello to all those who just recently joined. In addition, definitely use that chat. Besides the fact that we'll be looking at questions, tell us where you're calling in from. We always like to know, and just give us a little bit about yourself. If you're brand new to Storylines, let us know in the chat. If you've been around a while, if you're an owner, make sure and wave in the chat and tell other people too. So we just went through and talked a lot about the community. We talked about all the amenities. And if you go to storylines.com, not right now because we have a lot to go through, but after this, you'll be able to look on that site and actually look at the ship and look at every single deck and what we have on the ship itself. So obviously there's no shortage of things to do, no shortage of wonderful places to eat, and all these great things we're going to be doing on board. So let's talk about the ship right now that is going to house all these wonderful things. And I was very, very lucky to be able to sit down with our construction project manager, Dr. Paul Reed. I had just a few minutes with him, and if it's okay, I'll just share a real quick clip of our conversation here. So without further ado, here we go. I am so excited to be talking with Dr. Paul Reed, Storylines project manager. So Dr. Reed, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time.
No, I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
So let's just talk about your role as Storylines project manager.
Yeah, so my role started almost 2 years ago when I became involved with Storylines to develop the specification that we would give out to the shipyards to give a tender and say whether they wanted to build the ship for us. And at the moment, we're in the process of doing the initial design. My job is to develop that design with the shipyard, both the engineering and the interior, and to then take that through to construction and put on site an engineering team that will monitor the construction progress and monitor the construction quality.
We're not refurbishing a ship, we're building it from the ground up, and there's so many benefits to that, right?
So we can do exactly what we want. We can put in exactly the type of systems we want. We can have all new IT systems, all new HVAC systems. We can have all the bulkheads where we want them. We can have all the public spaces as we want them, the residents as we want them. So it became the only option, really.
And speaking of, the different layers and the different parts to building a ship, we have one of the best designers in the world.
Yeah, so the interior design is being done by Tilburg Design Suite. They're a world-class, world-renowned design team. They're going to be helping us in many, many ways to produce the interior design that meets all the requirements of all the residents and of Storylines itself including sustainability, which is a key factor for us.
Storylines has a very strong sustainability initiatives, and with everything that we're doing, that comes first. With anything from our no waste to the type of fuel we're using, and so everybody has to be on the same page, of course. And so it's really exciting to hear that about Tilburg.
Sustainability for us is one of the key design points that we are working on. I mean, everything that we look at throughout the ship, we look at how we can bring in sustainability into that. We're allowed for being able to adapt as we move forward into the future. But we're using many other things on board, like renewable energy. We're going to have solar panels on board to power some of the systems. Waste heat recovery, waste cold recovery from cooling down the LNG. We can use that to cool the HVAC system. And overall, we're looking at what we call smart ship concept, which is maybe one of the first times this has been done. It's a bit like a smart city or a smart home, but so where we will have systems which are monitoring the use of everything that is done on board and analyze how that's being done so that it can try and reduce the use of energy.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing all this.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was just part of my interview. We couldn't play everything because there was so much. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you all that I'm really excited about is we're installing a webcam. So as we go through this project, everyone will be able to take a peek at our progress. And it's just so exciting. I can't wait to get back to Croatia, where the ship is going to be built. So we really want to thank Dr. Paul Reed for that. And, just kind of looking at all the different things that we've already covered. If you're just new to the call right now, we've talked about the vision, the community, the amenities, and we just heard from the ship project manager. So Alister, can you talk about the itinerary? Because I know a lot of people are very interested about how that's going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before I go there, though, I noticed in the questions there, Pat asked, is anyone else from Canada? I didn't touch on that before, but at the moment, we've got resident representation from around about 10, maybe 12 countries. So that's really great to see. Obviously, there's a lot of contingent coming from the United States, but Canada is also very strong. Europe, UK, Australia, New Zealand, they're all strong for us too. So, some great people from all around the world. So again, back to that community element, people from everywhere, which is great. So the itinerary, we took quite a different approach to this. This is more of an itinerary based on if you were to charter your own yacht, for example. What would you tell the captain if you're going to charter a yacht for you and your family around the Mediterranean? We're not going to go into a port for 7 hours and then duck out to the next port and sail all night. It's not the way you'll travel. So we spend 3 to 5 days in each major port location. We take 3 or so years to travel the globe. We spend months in one region. The amount of traveling, the distance we cover in a year, a typical cruise line might do in a month or two. That's the fundamental difference. So that the benefit to the residents for that and anyone living this experience means that you're not just going to see the port trinket shops and things like that. You're actually going to get out and actually experience the cities that we go to, and not just the cities, but also the regions, which is really important as well. So you'll be able to hire a car, and if you're in Venice, for example, and we spend 5 days there, and you say, look, I'm having a great time, we've met some wonderful people here and been invited to stay at their home, or go out skiing up in the Alps or something, then you can go and do that and catch up with the ship in Slovenia or Croatia or wherever we happen to be going next. You've got that flexibility, just as you would in your home. So that's the fundamental differences on how we do it. And I mentioned before about 365 days of sun. Fingers crossed, hopefully we get close to that, but we will follow the sun, of course. So we'll be in the shoulder season, which allows us to spend more time in each port location in the better locations as well.
And this, we don't need to get into all this different sales partners we have right now, but one of the great things is we have so many partners. So when you're in, these different ports and different cities for 3, 4, even 5 days, perhaps, you'll be able to do different excursions with all of these great different partnerships that we're forming right now.
And, there's more and more coming on all the time, and we won't speak to all those at this point, but right. The whole experience will be more than you can get anywhere else. And that's what Storylines is all about.
Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting. So, speaking of travel, I know you can probably all agree some of the downsides are running for your plane and, unpacking, packing, running through airports. I mean, there's so many things that are a little bit stressful. So let's talk about how different this lifestyle is going to be.
I always hear people saying, I want to pack my bags and just go traveling and go traveling. But at the end of the day, you do that after a couple of months, 3, 4, if you're really good, maybe 6 months, you just want to get home to your own bed. Well, imagine being able to go and live this beautiful experience and come home to bed every single night. That's the difference. So that's what we offer. This is home. This is not a cruise. It's not a holiday. This is your home. And a lot of people ask us, about cruising, because not everybody is a quote unquote cruiser on this call. Even I know there's some faces here that have never even been on cruises, but they're going to be residents with us. That's a really important part, because even our cruiser friends, they're buying residences, but they will still go on cruises. So they'll still leave Storylines to go on a cruise, because it's a completely different experience. So yeah, they're the fundamental differences. Coming home to your own bed every night.
I can kind of already smell the sea air. So speaking of health, you already basically said our motto, which is to live a healthier, happier, and longer life. And truly, that is the basis and the foundation of what this lifestyle is going to be about. So we have another little clip from he's our Chief Health Officer. So I just need to share a little bit before we did this. Like I said, we had these really brief clips. There's so much more about this whole area. And, Dr. Brian Martin, who I had the pleasure of sitting down with for a few minutes earlier today, he's just one of many. So we have many different modalities and practitioners and many physicians that are going to be on the ship. But let's just hear a few words of what he had to say. Hey everyone, it's Katie Drew Jensen, the Director of Marketing at Storylines, and I am so honored to be speaking with our Chief Health Officer, Dr. Brian Martin today. Dr. Martin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I just want to start real quick because I know your company is amazing and your company interchanges. I'd love to hear an overview on what you specialize in.
Well, the idea of what I specialize in can be summed up by more the approach. Everything we do is proactive. There's reactive medicine that we're doing with the immunizations and standard care that we'll have on the ship, but I'm responsible for the proactive nature of it. And it's really just the actions that decrease disease, suffering, and increase health and maximize time, because that's really what we want, is quality time. In the course of that, there's lowering down toxins, bioidentical hormones, nutraceuticals, intravenous therapies, including NAD, which is for energy and anti-aging, hyperbaric oxygen for stroke management. And we're all looking for lowering down heart disease, diabetes, and cancer risks. And the main functions of our life, what do we really want to see? Better sleep, better mood, better energy, and better libido. And that's really the sum of everything we've been doing in the clinic. So I wouldn't say hope to, we've already planned on taking the exact clinic that I have and opening that to the Storyline residents.
Oh, that's fabulous. And as we all know, Storyline's foundation is built on health and wellness, and especially preventative health. So you just actually read my mind with my next question, and you covered that. So everything that you are offering and what you bring to Storylines is everything you've been doing in preventative healthcare, correct?
Almost 30 years, yes.
Excited to hear more about this, and I'm going to share with everybody how they can get more information. But one last question I want to ask you is about our sustainability initiatives. And we're talking organic food and all sorts of different advanced therapies. So can you expand on that? How you're going to be bringing that into our programs?
Well, Bethany Hunter's really the lead, and I'm here to support her. And anything to do with air, water, and food. And in my concepts or my approach, it's going to be, of course, when we add in the HVAC system, when we do the hydroxyl radicals to clean the air, when we test the food for heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, cadmium, when we grow the food and test the quality of the nutrition as much as we can. And then also make sure we have clean water on the ship for everyone and resources of water. So that's where I add it. Other things we're planning on doing, In addition to that, is maybe incorporating, say maybe because we're still doing research and we're still hopefully bring that in. So that's not an absolute yet, but just to give what's on the storefront or the forefront, I should say, would be things like graphene, 1 carbon layer thin, and it's a very smooth conductor. It helps also, you can use painting surfaces to prevent infections or adhesion from any kind of viruses. So it's a new approach like that. As far as anything else that we're doing, we're also using fitness equipment that can potentially capture energy to increase the energy stores for the ship. So very exciting things and cutting edge that we're all looking into.
Oh, it's so exciting. And I know there's so much more to this. And I know you're a busy man and we just had a few minutes here. So I want to share with everyone where they can get your information. So go to interchanges.com and you can read all about what wonderful things Dr. Martin is doing. You can also go to our website at storylines.com and you can read all about our health and wellness programs and initiatives. So thank you again. I'm so glad to grab a few minutes of your time. I really appreciate it. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye. Another real short clip because we're trying to get everything in 1 hour here. There's just so much. And again, if you just joined us, if you haven't heard everything that we have covered, we've talked about the vision of Storylines. We have talked about the ship. We've heard from the ship project manager. We've talked about the amenities and the health and wellness. And so one of the things that, obviously we talked about also our community, and we have so many different types of people and families that are going to be on the ship. And I'd love to hear, Alister, about the education and the enrichment programs that we're going to be having.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the education side is for everybody, right? We never stop learning, and Storylines will embrace that absolutely. So there's a lot of places on board the ship where education and enrichment can happen. So whether it's the theatre, the 2-level theatre, or whether it's in the actual education and classrooms up on deck 8, I believe. But there's plenty of other places as well throughout the ship where these kind of experiences can happen. And also, of course, cooking demonstrations and those kind of things which you'd expect to find. But it goes a lot deeper than that. So when you're talking about, from school-age children on board, there's no end of studies that show that students who learn multiple languages or learn how to play instruments or various other things that increases their IQ and their chances of success in life. So what better way to learn about the Roman Empire than standing in the middle of the Colosseum, right? The kind of experience, and that's going to be open not just to school children, but also the enrichment side of things for further education, because I know myself, I don't know enough about the Romans and I probably should know more. So I'd love to be doing exactly that. I've been to the Colosseum, but I didn't learn terribly much while I was there. So to have someone who's maybe a historian who is also a resident, maybe take a field trip with a group of residents to go and do those kind of experiences. And that's going back to that community element. And I noticed in the questions just before, while that video was playing, Michael said he's lived in 89 countries. Wow. That's probably above average. Well done. But with Storylines, I'd like to maybe get you to triple digits pretty quickly. And going back to that itinerary part, when you go, not that we're a cruise line, but when you have to sort of compare against something as a baseline, when you go into a destination for 8 hours or even 12 hours or 24 hours, can you really say you've been there? No, not really. You haven't really seen anything. So, by spending those 3 to 5 days in each of those locations and sometimes weeks or months in a country, you can pretty much say that you live there, because you're going to have friends, you're going to do all the things that a normal resident of that country would do. So that's the embodiment of the education experience. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that and helping to deliver some content myself, of course, with things that I can possibly be knowledgeable about. But it's going to be a great experience for people of all ages.
Oh, I just can't even imagine. My kids are so jealous. They're already grown, but to raise them in that environment, they would have loved that, just to be a student of the world. And the other thing about the community is that we have so many talented and skillful people that will be on board. So we might have a musician that might be teaching a music course, and we have fitness instructors that are already planning on, sharing their skills and their gifts. And we just have so many, professors and a pharmacist and just so many people that literally this is a floating city of amazing people and amazing talent. So, one of the questions that we hear is you may not want to be on board 12 months a year. You might have another home, or you might want to get off. You might want to do different things, right? So let's talk just briefly about the Guest at Sea rental program.
Yes. So, as you sort of said, we treat this like a land-based piece of real estate from your perspective. So, what we've found is the majority of residents are talking to us that they want to be on board for about 9 months of the year. And so, for that additional 3 months, you can rent that out through our guest at sea program. What it works out, if you from a financial perspective, if you live on board the ship for about 3.5 to 4 months and rent it out for the balance of time, it'll mean that 3 or 4 months of your stay was effectively a zero cost to you. Okay, so if you're living on board for 9 months, you can get income for those additional 3 months, which will pay for a fair amount of your stay. Okay, why 3 months? 3 months for someone who's not known to storylines and is purely purchasing a ticket to come and enjoy this experience is long enough for that person or couple or whoever it might be to actually get in and experience the community and become part of it. Again, back to that itinerary part, can you really say you've been to Venice if you've been there for 8 hours? No, you can't. Same rules apply for people coming on board the ship. So if you're not known to anybody on storylines and you're just purchasing a ticket, you need to buy that 3-month minimum ticket length. So you get to be part of the community. Okay? So that stops the transientness of the community. But also, the next question some people ask is, what about friends and family? Well, friends and family can come and stay for 1 night, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. That's different because they're your guests. They're coming on with you or on your behalf. They're different. I'm talking about for the rental program, external to storylines is minimum 3 months.
Yeah, that's just amazing. And it's funny, we were talking about the community too. They're already doing things together. And, it's so wonderful to see that we have so many, and we have many of them on this call today. And I might have to pull one out here in just a minute so they can actually share with you, because it's one thing to hear it from us, but it's a whole different thing to hear it from the people who have decided to join this community and buy a residence. But, they're taking cruises right now. They're taking trips. They're getting together for, girls' night out or wine and cheese. And it's really fun to see all of the community bonding already. So I'm just going to take a peek here. And I think I saw one of my dear friends, Danelle, who, if Patricia, can you ask her to unmute? Because I would love for you. I might be putting you on the spot here just a second, but I know you well enough. We can do that. So there we go. I think you're unmuted. Wave and say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to see you. So there's a few things that we have to ask because everyone wants to know what really appealed to you the most about storylines.
Well, I hadn't heard of storylines at all until my husband gave me a Christmas present, and it was a globe. And I thought, what is this globe for? And he said, I've given you the world. We're going to see the world.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, to think that, he bought us a stateroom on a cruise ship to go see the world was just, an unbelievable gift. And so I started to do research on it. And the thing that appealed to me is after meeting everybody and everything that Storylines is about, the wellness aspect of it, the community aspect, the fact that, we get to have so much input on, just even what we want our staterooms to look like, down to the fabrics. It's just not having to deal with TSA anymore, right? Or the person in front of you that has 5 laptops and 3 bottles of water that you're behind, and in your own bed, waking up all over the world in your own bed, to me is so, so cool.
Wow. I did not know the story about the globe. And gentlemen out there, I got to tell you, you got to take a few pointers from this man, because I would have just passed out if my significant other had handed me that. What a wonderful gift. So I have to ask you too, what are you most looking forward to?
Seeing the world at my own pace, really. I think it's just like what Alister said is you get into a port, you meet some cool people, they invite you to their house, or there's a destination that you've always wanted to go to. You're like, well, I want to stay behind. I can take the train to go catch up to the next destination. Traveling without stress, being able to meet all of these people on the ship, their friends, and again, tapping into people's expertise that I'm traveling with. having the community, you know, somebody that's an expert at Greece. I've never been to Greece. You know, what's the little hot spot to go to? Where are all the little, you know, nooks and crannies that I need to see? That's what I'm looking forward to. And the spa, I have to be honest.
I can't agree more with that. What a wonderful, I mean, you can start your day with yoga, have a lovely breakfast on your deck, and then you're off doing an excursion. You might come back, you might stay. I mean, there's just so many options of the lifestyle that you want to live.
Absolutely. I mean, get up, go to the gym, go for a run, go for a swim, jacuzzi, you know. Some of the friends we've already met, you know, one of the girlfriends, she's a future resident, you know, she's going to have a nice big balcony. We're going to do some cocktail recipes and, you know, have some happy hours together. I mean, that to me is just totally cool. Just out of the ordinary fun, really, that you can't put a price on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we always say this is not a vacation, this is your life, right? So you won't have like those party people running up and down the halls because they only have 4 days on a ship. I mean, these are your friends. And like you said, we can do a cooking class on the top deck, or we can go off together for a couple of days in Greece or Rome or wherever we're going to be. So that's so exciting. I cannot wait to see you again too. We've had the pleasure of meeting. And like you said, you've already done some trips or done some fun things outside with the community, right?
Yes. We hosted, so I'm in Los Angeles based California. And so we hosted some of the future residents on our boat, and oh my gosh, you know, you couldn't shut any of us up because we were just having such a great time looking forward to our adventures together. I mean, all different backgrounds of people. And, you know, when you have that common thing of traveling and love to travel and, you know, food, wine or drinks or, you know, bike ride. I mean, anything. It's really cool how so many different interests can come together and have such a great time because, you know, so many people have so many different backgrounds and experiences and can teach you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if I don't see you, because we're both locals here, if I don't see you for Girls Night Out soon, I'll see you on the ship. So thank you so much for unmuting yourself and sharing, because, you know, everyone wants to hear from our owners because those are the most important people. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, guys. I'm so looking forward to everything. I mean, what a gift this is, really, you know, I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that Danielle just said it's a gift. You know, this is something that you haven't seen before. Like we started, you know, sharing at the very beginning of this webinar. You know, this is very unique. This is something that, you know, I actually had dreamed about. And, you know, Danielle, you were talking about airports. So I previously owned a private air charter company. And this was something that I always thought would be such a dream. And I just didn't see it out there. So what an opportunity. So Alister, let's see. We have covered the vision. We covered the ship, the medical and health and wellness facility, the amenities. Have we left anything out?
Yeah, I saw a couple of questions about the actual residences themselves. So I think we should probably cover that because it's obviously a very important part.
Yes.
We've got many different options to choose from. For the people that are brand new to Storylines, after the call, jump on and jump onto the website, storylines.com, and have a look in your own leisure. But all the residences are all fully furnished, all include everything you need. So pretty much just bring a suitcase, bring your personal effects, and make it home. Okay, that's all you need to do. So various different types, ranging from the smaller residences through to large, what we call RU5 type residences. Some of them are over 2 levels with internal staircases and private access into their residences. Just about all of them have balconies. All have en suites. Many have kitchenettes, various different sizes of kitchenettes based on the size of the residence. You know, with fridge and freezer and those type of facilities as well. Because when you're in Paris, you want to go and get some beautiful cheeses. You want to be able to store them somewhere, so you've got your own ability to do those kind of things. Plenty of storage, of course, is a big part, and various different sizes of residences with various different configurations, including dedicated office spaces. Some have larger, deeper balconies. Yeah, there's definitely something for everybody in all different price ranges and all different configurations. So jump on and check that out in your own leisure.
Okay, I know there's a lot of information here and you're super excited to gather more. Well, here are the next steps. You can go to our website. You can fill out the form that you see on the website, or more specifically, if you're looking at the pricing and availability of the residence, you can actually click into the resident of your choice and you can fill out that information right there. A residential advisor will be with you as soon as that person can possibly get to you. Thank you so much for joining. We look forward to speaking with you soon.